So for the demonstration, we're going to do exactly that. We're going to implement that access control list. So I recommend taking a snapshot of this drawing so that we know exactly what we're working on and we can examine what's happening while we're working on our lab. So the three things we're going to do here is we're going to write that access control list, then we're going to apply to the interface, and then we're going to test. Right now, if I open up Command Prompt, I can take a look at my workstation, and we'll find out that this workstation has the IP address of 10.0.0.16. I'm going to SSH into the router at 10.0.0.1. We'll log in and move to privilege mode. If I do a show access list, there we go, we'll see that my standard access lists for my previous module are still there. Now, if I look at interface fast Ethernet 0/1, where I did apply that, and I do a show run INTF 0/1, we'll see that neither of those access lists are currently applied. So before we get started with the extended access list, let's eliminate the access lists that we don't need right now, which are these two standards. So what I can do here is I can say no access list 10, and that will get rid of this first access list. And then I can do no access list, no IP access list, standard example 1. There we go. So now if I do a show access list, we should have no access lists currently configured, which is what I'm looking for. So the next step now is to begin configuring our new extended access list. I don't want to mislead you in thinking that we can't have standard access lists configured in order to configure an extended. So all I did here was clean up my configuration so that I don't have unused access lists on my router. I don't really want to keep unused access lists on there unless it's an access list that I turn on and off occasionally. I really want to only keep the ACLs on my device that I'm currently using. That keeps my configuration nice and neat and clean. However, there is no rule that says that in order to implement extended access lists, we have to get rid of the standard. That is false. Let's move on to implementing our list here. So I'm going to say IP access list extended, and we'll give this the name of example 2. Now we're going to start writing those lines of our access list that we built from that table. So we say permit TCP 10.0.0.16 with the wildcard mask of 0001 going to our host address of 192.168.10.10, which is our web server, on port 80. The next line, permit ICMP from those same addresses to host 192.168.10.10. This time, though, we're not going to specify that port because it's ICMP and we're not using TCP or UDP with ICMP. Next, I want to permit the other device to SSH, so we're going to say permit TCP host 10.0.0.128 to host 192.168.10.10 equal to port 22, which is SSH. Then our last one, deny IP any. If we go back to our privileged mode prompt and do show access list, we'll see here's my access list. It has 4 lines in it, and they're exactly how I've written them, and they should match up identically to how I've configured them in the drawing that we should be looking at right now. Let's go apply this access control list now to F00 in the inbound direction and see what happens. So we'll go to config T, and we'll go into INTF 0/0. Now we'll apply that access control list. So we say IP access group, we give it the name, example 2, and we're going to make that in the inbound direction.